Here at Michigan State University, we're a land-grant university, but how many students know what that actually means and how it impacts them? I'm sure everyone has heard or read the land acknowledgement, but who actually knows how Indigenous people are impacting our lives daily? A land-grant university is a research-oriented public university founded or funded through the Morrill Act of 1862. This distributed nearly 11 million acres of land expropriated from 250 tribal nations. Land-grant universities benefit from the systemic seizure and dispossession of lands of Native Americans. Here at MSU, at land-grant university, the Indigenous voices are not nearly as implemented into our lives as they should be. One key aspect of this is our food system. The land we are on has been farmed, valued, and cared for by Indigenous communities long before our university was even here. But today, these practices aren't nearly as highlighted as they should be in the ways we teach agriculture, grow food, or even seen through the food we eat here. Take MSU Extension or our dining halls, for example. What would it look like if we were able to implement Indigenous knowledge into our food access and outreach? This isn't about adding something new. It's about recognizing knowledge that has been here and implementing it to MSU in a meaningful way. It's important to see that MSU can move past just being a land-grant institution by name and start reflecting that responsibility in its actions. And that can be done here, right on MSU's campus at the MSU Labs.
We've all heard of farm to table, but do we know where we get our food and how it impacts the communities around us? Small-scale farming is essential for sustainable food production, but we also must ask ourselves, how ethical is the food that we are consuming? And are we giving enough credit to Native communities that have cultivated our food systems? When we emphasize our responsibility towards Native crops and their implementation, environmental and social justice can be achieved. Practicing local food production helps to increase community engagement and produce fresher food as well. Campus involvement plays a major role in this process, with student-led initiatives such as student organic farms and greenhouses.
MSU Extension is a community-based outreach program that uses MSU knowledge and research to provide resources to all kinds of people with all kinds of questions. Extension assists Michigan families, farmers, businesses, and beyond to achieve their goals by connecting them with educational resources and opportunities. There are already a number of existing programs through Extension that are creating an impact in agriculture, providing tips on topics from irrigation to animal ag. But what if there was a way to better educate the public on Indigenous farming practices? MSU Extension could powerfully impact communities by providing resources and research on the importance of these practices and how we can replicate them in our own food production. This would not only educate community members on sustainable agriculture, but also document these practices so that Indigenous knowledge can be transferred between generations. Indigenous food sovereignty is about more than just empowerment. It's about prioritizing the health and cultural impact of our food, connecting students to the land, and ultimately, the food on their plate.
Thousands of students get food from the MSU dining halls each day, but few of them actually know where that food is from. Our dining halls promote being green and sourcing their food sustainably, but leave students wondering what that really means. Our dining halls perpetuate convenience and do not connect students with the place where their food is grown. The only connection students get with their food is when it's on their plate.
Currently, Indigenous foods get spotlighted one time a year in MSU dining halls. But in order for students to connect and understand the relevance of this food, they should be included in meal plans daily. Indigenous foods such as corn, wild rice, squash, and buffalo are all nutrient-dense foods and can be sourced locally, which benefits the health of students. Highlighting these types of food and the culture embedded in them can work to create a relationship with the food and the land that we benefit from.
MSU can work towards a more sustainable and collaborative community through their food system, which should highlight Indigenous food systems and culture. Encouraging students to eat Indigenous foods, learn about Indigenous land practices, and the history of land-grant universities are first steps in creating a more just and sustainable campus, which can all get started right here.